morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, January 3rd, 2026. It's about 8 a.m. here in the Central Time, and getting some cooking ready because we're going to have a little dinner tonight, and it's going to be good. Going to cook Carbonnade à la Flamande, Flemish beef, and I want to show you one of my favorite things in the whole world. This is my copy. It's been used. It's got some bookmarks in it. It's got stains of sauces in it here and there. Look at that. That's probably some red wine. And the point of this is this is one of my favorite cookbooks. This is a go-to, and this is a foundational book. If you have this, you need to get it out and you need to read it and you need to use it because it's really, really good. These things are foolproof. The history of this book is something else. There's Julia Child with Simone Beck and Louise Berthold. And this is post-World War II in Paris. Julia Child's story is extremely interesting. Julia Child was originally from California. She made her way into the Office of Special Services during World War II. That's the forerunner of the CIA, so they were doing foreign work. What exactly Julia was doing, I don't think has ever been made exactly clear. She met her husband at the time, Paul Child, and when the war was over, Paul had been assigned as a Foreign Service officer in France. Things kind of clicked back into what was more the norm for women back then, unfortunately, because although Julia was doing great jobs and lots of women were doing great things for the government and filling in during the war efforts and playing significant roles in the war efforts, things kind of went back to, yeah, get out of the way, don't take my job, that's man's work, I'll be doing that. It is what it is, folks. But Julia needed something to do when she was in Paris and hooked up with other friends and eventually managed to get herself enrolled in Le Cordon Bleu, the famous cooking school in Paris, which was almost unheard of. In France, women just didn't cook professionally, period. That was heading up a kitchen and working in a kitchen, ovens preheated, was work for men, end of story. But she managed to get in. I don't know that she necessarily completed the course at that time, but she learned a great deal and got mentored by one of the profs there. She met up with Simone Simca Beck and Louise Berthold in Paris, and they formed Les Trois Gourmands, or École Trois Gourmands, School of Three Gourmands, whatever. But they cooked. They cooked a lot, and things are different in France. If you've ever been there, you shop differently, you buy differently, and there are different products available. Sure, there are grocery stores and supermarkets and Le Grand Marché and all these things, but the cuts of meat are different. Things are different. In Europe, people care more about how well you can make one thing, not how cheaply and how many of one thing you can make. So it's really about the artisanship and the craftsmanship, and you really see that in terms of things like butter and cream and cheeses, especially in France, wine. It's a big deal. So when Julia came back stateside, she wanted to be able to basically translate these wonderful recipes and all she had learned into ways that Americans could understand it, and more importantly, with ingredients we could get. This is the product of that. And actually, this is really only half the book. There's a second volume of this that is maybe even bigger than this one, that gets way deep into the weeds. There are things like pâtés and farces and all kinds of things in that one, including about a 6-page method for making French bread with AP flour. And by God, that works. The methods are a little different in here. This doesn't look like a standard cookbook. The steps kind of walk you through right here. It's a little bit different and it's organized differently, but by God, it works, and it's not too hard. If you have this book, get it out and use it. If your grandmother or your mother has an old first edition laying around somewhere, get your hands on that sucker. And if you're not going to send it to me, take care of it. Those are hard to find. So at any rate, enjoy. This is Carbonade a la Flamande. It's one of my go-to recipes in here. Actually, I've only made it once. The real go-to is beef bourguignon. That's awesome. But anyway, braised beef and onions in beer. The beautiful thing about these recipes is the dishes are bigger than the sums of their parts. Here's what's in this. Beef, some fat. I'm going to use some bacon fat. Onions, some garlic, some salt, some pepper, beef broth, beer. A little bouquet garni, so we're going to use a little parsley. Got some, little thyme, and some bay leaf. Going to wrap those up in a cheesecloth, put it in while it braises, and you just let that sucker go in the oven and go to Costco, because it was crazy yesterday, and I dipped out of there real quick. Damn near got stuck in the parking lot because it was that bad. I'm going to go this morning when it's not that bad. So everybody have a good day. I'll show you the results later. Get this cookbook. Get it out. Try it. Thanks, everybody.